Good afternoon and welcome to Fired Up. I'm your host for the show, Bob Irwin. We're broadcasting from Rigel Studios here in Las Vegas, Nevada. This show is about guns, related politics, and self-defense issues. You'll find Fired Up episodes on our website, firedupwithbobirwin.com, and on the American Guns and Glory Network. Also, it appears separately on YouTube and numerous other media. We broadcast the new show is posted every Thursday at 5 in the afternoon Pacific time. Our audio feed is rebroadcast for radio listeners Saturdays at noon on the Nevada Talk Network. You can check out KELY1230.com for a station in your area. Questions or comments, you can send an email to me if you wish at bob@firedupmail.com. It's probably on the bottom of your screen right about now. Again, that's bob@firedupmail.com. Or leave a message for me on my office recorder, 702-257-1060, 702-257-1060. If you don't leave contact information, I can't call you back. I get 4 or 5 this week with a question, can you find out, blah, 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 and let me know. My answering device does not record your phone number for a variety of reasons. Your own security is one of them. So you have to leave it in the message so I can get a hold of you. There are several hundred defensive uses of firearms every week in the United States, rarely truthfully or fairly covered by mainstream media. So we always present a few of those for our listeners' education. Most are good shootings. Some are questionable. Sometimes they're clearly wrong. But I pull them out. There's 200 or 300 of them every week, and I pull stories out that are educational for firearms owners, those of you who keep a gun in your house or you carry one for self-defense on the street. Remember that individual incidents are generally adjudicated under local law. When I use cases here from Texas or Delaware or whatever, it's a real case that really happened, and usually my guests, in this case California, Nevada attorney, will look at them as if they happened in Nevada, but we're using real cases. These already happened to people. I know some of them are hard to believe. There's a couple of them today that are hard to believe. Stories are often paraphrased by me for clarity. I translate from police jargon what I choose to call lawyer speak and regional accents around the United States into more standard American English. The incidents are as reported, except the names of the participants, the good guys and the bad guys, are generally omitted. I will put in there the names of the attorneys and the police officers involved, but not the individual participants, because remember, everybody's innocent until proven guilty, as they always say on John Walsh shows. My guest today is California and Nevada attorney Donald J. Green. Don, welcome back. They knew you were coming. We talked about it last week. Mm-hmm. Here he is again.
Okay. Well, thanks, Bob. Again, for all of you who don't know me by now, my name is Don Green. I'm an attorney in Nevada and California. We have a very active and great practice in mostly dealing with firearms. And this is everything from administrative procedures to representing gun shows, representing individuals trying to buy firearms, representing individuals who aren't supposed to have firearms. And we're also going to be involved, and we are involved currently, with the magazine ban litigation pending before the Ninth Circuit in San Francisco. And this was the case that's been going on for about 18 months now out of California, mostly San Diego and Sacramento, where, remember, California had initiated a ban on magazines carrying more than 10 rounds. That would be for pistols and rifles and shotguns. The briefing is pretty well solidified. I have a feeling that there's going to be either oral argument or consideration by the Ninth Circuit as to whether or not it will go in California. It would be a go or a no-go. And then in Nevada, we've been consulted with two areas coming into play on January 1st, and that is the red flag law, which is being challenged up in northern Nevada. I want to say it was Mineral County or Lander County. There was a lawsuit filed on the red flag law. Our take on it would be that it's not that it violates the Second Amendment, but that there's a lack of discernible standards by which these new gun judges can evaluate the situation. And of course, we have that perhaps challenges to Nevada's background check law. Again, we're not looking at it from a Second Amendment. We're looking at it from whether it's 30 days, whether the FFL has to keep it in his inventory, with the logbook procedures, with the alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. So, these things which were not considered by the background check law. But you're always welcome to call me, 702-409-8239. Thanks, Bob.
All right. This first story comes to us from KCBY TV 11. It's a CBS affiliate. On January 6, 2020, in Coos Bay, Oregon. Sidelight here, I went to college in Oregon, and Coos Bay is the most beautiful place in the entire United States. If you could afford to live there, go there. A man reported catching suspects in the act of committing a burglary at his home. Just after 4:30 in the afternoon, Coos County Sheriff's Office responded to a reported burglary in progress on Terramar Road. The caller reported she and her husband had found two males in the detached garage of their home. That makes a difference in some cases. Anyway, he was in the detached garage, and currently the husband was holding these two burglars at gunpoint. Upon deputies arriving, two males, aged 36 and 37, not your teenage burglars, were taken into custody. The husband said after he located the suspects inside the garage and verbally gave them commands, they cooperated by exiting the garage and sitting down on the ground. A pistol was located inside the garage, which one suspect admitted was his, and also in possession of a controlled substance they found in his pocket. The other suspect admitted to attempting to enter the residence on the property, but was unable to get in because of a deadbolt that was locked on the door. He admitted he had kicked the door of the garage and also stated he had stolen a knife from inside the garage. He was unable to find other items to steal because he forgot to bring a flashlight to his burglary. These are not rocket scientists. Both men were transported to Coos County Jail, where they were lodged on the charges of attempted burglary, unlawful use of a weapon, criminal mischief, and conspiracy. One will also be referred to the Coos County District Attorney's Office for possession of a controlled substance. We should all be so lucky to be burglarized by these two idiots. Consider that, but the point of the story is, consider the outcome if this family had not been armed. Where would they be right now? This would be a totally different stories. What do you think, Don?
From a criminal defense point of view, I would want to know, in defending the homeowner, I would want to know, what is the distance between the home and the garage? Was this a residential, like pointed out, it's a very nice area. Was it 10 yards? Was it 10 feet? Was it 5 feet? But it's a detached garage. Now, in the law of property, under common law, something which is within the curtilage, that is within the area owned by you, is your property, and you can defend it. Is it considered part of your home? But they come home, it's 4:30 in the afternoon. This is not a situation where this was at night. So I'm going to want to know how long it was. We'll send the investigator. We send Bob out there. What was the distance? What was the distance when you saw that? Where did you first notice that there was a problem? You have to be able to get ready to answer these questions. And I know, how can I do this when I have such a stressful situation? Again, training. I'm not talking about training at your house and pretending that some burglar there, but go to some training and look at these examples and look and just understand that you're not a police officer, because this was reported as a burglary in progress. As Bob points out, it could have gone really bad.
This is... But if you get a chance to move to Coos Bay, despite their gun laws, move there. It's, yeah, anyway. We're going to pause here for a brief word from some of our friends and associates. We'll be right back. Freestyle Martial Arts, located at Jones and Russell here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-551-9009. That's 702-551-9009. CCS Gunsmithing. Chris Eifelt, the man who does all the NRA help, he's at 2216 South Rainbow Boulevard near Sahara. He can be reached at 702-365-1732. Once again, 702-365-1732. Jerry Creed, a trust attorney. If you have a firearms trust or need one, this is your guy. You can reach Jerry at 702-806-7777. That is 702-806-7777. CCW Maggie is found all over the internet. You can reach her by phone at 702-375-5900. That's 702-375-5900. All sorts of firearms training, ladies only classes. She is the best of the best. Call CCW Maggie. And we are back. This next story comes to us from WAFB TV9. A reporter named Kevin Foster reported on the 10th of January this year in Livingston Parish, Louisiana. Around 8:30 on Sunday morning, detectives learned a husband and wife team drove their vehicle through a resident's yard. Parish Sheriff's Office detective began investigating at the home, which is located in the 19,000 stretch of LA, I presume means Louisiana Highway number 42. It sounds picturesque. The couple was unable to dislodge their vehicle when they drove into the person's yard muddy. It's been raining down there, as we all know, for a while. At some point, her 34-year-old husband got out of his vehicle and tried to break through the front door of the home. He then retreated after being confronted by the resident head of household, as that's the police description of the guy. The would-be burglar then armed himself with a shovel, which he used to break a bathroom window from outside the home. The resident then fired a single gunshot, which struck this 34-year-old husband intruder, or trying to be intruder. He was transported to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. Why? We don't know at this time. All we know is their vehicle got stuck, according to Sheriff Jason Ard. He added, the resident, who remained inside the home with his family, feared for his safety and the safety of his family. The wife, who fled the scene by that point, was later taken into custody. She was booked in the Livingston Parish Detention Center as a principal to a home invasion charge. We're following this. These people just got stuck in the mud in the front yard of the house and then decided to break into the house. The sheriff's description, it appears the resident fired through the broken window to shoot the would-be intruder who was outside at the time. Maybe a valid shooting if you live in Livingston Parish. I am hard-pressed to think of where this would be considered, Don, a reasonable use of deadly force.
Where it would be used, or
where would it be reasonable to use deadly force on a guy? He's armed with a shovel trying to break in the window, and you shoot him while he's still outside with the shovel, is apparently what happened here.
That's why when you're confronted with this kind of a situation, as Bob points out, you need to articulate everything which was immediate at that moment. I pointed out here that there could have been, even in California, we had an articulable basis for using that firearm. First, the vehicle had already crashed into their yard. The couple was trying to dislodge their firearm. The 34-year-old, now dead perpetrator was forcing his way through to the front door. He retreated after being confronted by the intruder. And then the intruder arms himself with a shovel, which is arguably, no question, a deadly weapon. And maybe had already smashed the window, maybe the window was not smashed, but he was there ready to do something, and the man had to do something. So the issue is, the attorney's got to have this, the attorney's got to know about it so that the attorney can formulate his questions for the district attorney. You've got to turn this whole case around. And what was the homeowner thinking at that time? 1, car. 2, trying to break in. 3, he continues to do it. And now we shoot through the window. I was protecting my family. Now, even though the DA in California, possibly Nevada, is going to say, well, he didn't have to shoot because he was protected by the wall, you've got to focus the jury's attention on that moment. Was he acting as the reasonable person on the street? I want to say yes. And that's how this case would be turned around.
That's why you need to hire a good defense lawyer, not the guy that wrote your will for you or closed your real estate deal. Taking it from the defense side, yeah, they have to prove their case that this was unreasonable to shoot. On the face of it, it appears to me to be unreasonable. But that's why you get lawyers.
May I point out one other fact?
Yeah.
In Ohio, we did a show about 3 or 4 months ago. In Ohio or Indiana, right in that area, there was a bill which had been passed which stated that in a case of self-defense, the prosecution must disprove the self-defense.
Right.
They have a jury instruction. We don't have that in Nevada.
Or most other places. And this would be one of those cases where you really need to be able to prove to the jury that what you did was reasonable. And there are arguments for that, I will agree. That's why we have judges and juries, folks, and why this stuff never goes away when they're this close a case, you know. So if you're not a member of one of the groups that sells you insurance for use of gunfire and so forth, you need to get there. We're going to take a brief pause here for some words from some of our friends and associates. We'll be right back. Attorney Donald J. Green, a common guest of mine on Fired Up. He can be reached at 702-409-8239. He specializes in gun case litigation. He is your man. Don Green, 702-409-8239. At Ricardo's Restaurant, where you'll usually find me eating lunch every day if I can get there, they're at the corner of Flamingo and Decatur here in Las Vegas. You can reach them at 702-227-9100. That's 702-227-9100. And Battlefield Vegas, my new kind of home for this show. They're on Circus Circus Drive, directly behind the Circus Circus Hotel and Casino. You can find them there with CCW classes and an amazing place for gun rentals, everything you could possibly imagine. Check out, if you're in town as a tourist, check out battlefieldvegas.com. And we are back. This last story, we haven't done a road rage story in some time, and this one, boy, needs to be, all of you can get in stuff like this. This is from the Orlando Sentinel and the Press Gazette, reported January 13, 2020, in Winter Haven, Florida. A fellow named Brian Brunchy, the Polk County Sheriff's spokesman, said an SUV driver told detectives that the truck driver in front of him came to a sudden stop, making him quickly hit the brakes. Apparently, there was no actual collision, but a near miss, as it were. That's anybody who drives in front of me today is that guy. The truck driver then got out, this is the car in front, and cursed the guy following him, the SUV driver, for following too closely. The SUV driver told officers the truck driver threatened to kill him and the passenger, making him in fear of his life. So he grabbed a gun from his glove compartment, pointed it at the man, and fired it. The truck driver was taken with a gunshot wound to a local hospital where he later died. No arrests have been made. Neither of the men's names have been released or made public as yet. As I say, this just happened before we went on the air, or very recently anyway. A road rage case here leads to a murder. No mention of the threatening truck driver actually being armed. It wasn't in any of the stories or police reports available. Was it possible for this SUV to back up, change lanes, or somehow drive away? Did the shooter call 911 and record the threat on his cell phone? There's about 100 better reactions in this case than gunfire. We've all been through this, folks. What do you think, Mr. Green?
The value of this show and other shows which you produce, Bob, are that we can show these very timely examples. Bob and I will be soon involved in a road rage kind of case, very similar, which ended up in a shooting. Fortunately, nobody's dead, but still very serious. And the driver is charged. In this case, we have to look at two perspectives. Number one, the perspective of the shooter, the driver of the vehicle number two. Number one, he says that the truck driver threatened to kill him. Number two, felt in fear for his life. Number three, grabbed the pistol from a glove compartment, pointed it at the truck driver, then fired. 5 elements, all in a matter of milliseconds. Contrast that with the way the district attorney could look at it. The reaching over into the glove compartment is a separate conscious act where in just a matter of moments, I was grabbing a weapon, and then he articulates only, I was in fear for my life. But as Bob points out, there's no weapon shown, in contrast to our case, which we're going to have. The perpetrator had a knife. In this case, there's nothing about a weapon, nothing about a baseball bat, a tire iron, or a firearm. But remember, then we have to go back to the defense. We have to look at that conscious act that the DA is going to point out of the grabbing the pistol from the glove compartment, pointing it at the truck driver, then firing and subsequently killing him. We have to look now, where was the driver? He was in a confined space. And remember, it was the truck driver who got out of his vehicle. You SOB, you were too close to me. But nothing happened. There was no accident. Of course, he can go out and say, look, okay, no harm, no foul. But the truck driver who then went over there is somewhere very close to this vehicle. Now, it's unsure where the firing took place, correct? Was he still inside? I want to say he was still in that vehicle. Still, he's in a confined space. So, could he have backed up? Yes, but remember, as far as I know, they were still in lanes of traffic. So the backing up was impractical. So I'm still in a confined space. I'm in the car. It's like being backed up in a corner. It's like being backed up at the changing rooms, the dressing rooms at Walmart. Where can you go? You really can't go anywhere. So, again, was it reasonably necessary to use that force? Was the threat against you such that it caused you more than bare fear? And this is why Bob points out in his comments, no arrests have yet been made, but they might.
Yeah, I'm looking at this and going back to my short time as a police officer. Were this to happen where I was a police officer in San Fernando, California for a while, we'd have arrested both guys. Just to take them to jail and write an arrest report and get them to calm down and see if they chose to make a statement. Obviously, where this is, if there is video available anywhere, it's going to tell the story as to who did what to who. I mean, without an actual collision and we end up in gunfire, I understand the fear of the moment, but I would question whether that fear was reasonable. Don, acting as a defense attorney, would look at that and say, yeah, obviously my client, couldn't, if he could have backed up, if it turns out he could have backed up or he was free to change lanes or make a U-turn, that's going to cause a real problem for the shooter here.
And I didn't notice time of day.
Yeah, it's clear. Everybody can see everybody, and as I said at the outset, if somebody drives in front of me, I forever am slamming on my brakes because I glance away or look at. I never look at my cell phone, but should I look at something else? Boy, if people did that were in front of me, I'd be in 6 shootings a day at least. Hopefully I would know better, but this is really a scary case. Like I say, the video is going to show, and there will be video from somebody.
Somewhere.
Hopefully, some business that has a camera facing outside, or somebody, if they're in housing there, somebody who's got a ring system pointing at the street in front of their house, is going to tell the tale. And videos, of course, can be deceiving also. So I like to never second guess the guy who was at the scene that can see all the details. So I will go with that on the defense of this. The look in the guy's eye, the motions he was making, what was the threat? I'm going to tear the front door off your car, and I'm going back to get my hammer and I'm going to bash through your window. Something that gave rise to it being reasonable for him to say he was in fear of death or great bodily harm. The guy threatened him. I'd love to know what those threats really were. But anyway, this is what happens when we do stories on the show that just happened. We don't have all those details left. And as usual, if we can follow this up when more information is available, there will be some available stuff later, because in this case, the individual died. Mm-hmm. So we will have a continuing case somewhere, hopefully still covered by the Orlando Sentinel in Winter Haven, Florida. And I will tag that to see if I can get it to come up on my computer when it happens, which may be months from now. So that's it. We have a gun show coming up. We figured that was February 8th and 9th is the next Crossroads show, and that is at the
Convention Center.
Convention Center, yeah. If you're going out Desert Inn, you turn right on the street it's on. Swenson, and you are right there. You turn right, and it's right there. You'll see signs out that tell you turn here, park here, whatever. The parking generally on these is free for almost anybody. Cops, retired firemen, retired bailiffs, retired lawyers, whoever. You got to come up with some story, or you pay $10 a day to park, but hopefully you can do that. We hope to see you there. All our recent shows are up on the internet at firedupwithboberwin.com. It has several dozen recent episodes. Please forward these shows to your friends. If when you have the show up on your phone or your computer, there'll be a button there to hit subscribe, and you will get a new show automatically every Thursday late afternoon. Our logo merchandise, I want to mention, is for sale. Now, hats, shirts, and books, etc. at Battlefield Vegas, which is just behind Circus Circus on the Las Vegas Strip. They were one of our friends and associates that ran a commercial a little bit earlier. I would suggest you go over there. It's an amazing place. You really got to look at it. You can shoot an M249 in their range. You can shoot a minigun in their range. They have an outdoor facility with even more stuff. Just amazing. Pull up their website, battlefieldvegas.com. Remember, the audio portion of this is repeated on the Nevada Talk Network all across Nevada, Saturdays at noon. You'll find a station in your area. If you go to that, all of them, it's actually broadcast out of Elko, and all the broadcasts are simultaneous wherever it goes, noon on Saturday. I thank you all for supporting Fired Up. Hopefully we'll see you at the gun show, and hopefully we won't be seeing you in court. Have a good afternoon. Thank you, Don.
Thank you again,
Appreciate
Bob.
it.
Thank you, sir.